Are you struggling to find a job? You're not alone. It's pretty tough to find a job in today's market. Now, we just had a jobs report come out, and that jobs report actually says that unemployment is at 3.7%. We've been holding steady at 3.7% unemployment for a good long while. In fact, we spent 2 years under 4% unemployment. At the same time, it feels really difficult to find a job. What I want to do in this video is spend some time showing you the data. I'll show you data from Indeed's hiring lab so that you can see exactly what's happening in the job market today, why it looks like jobs are really good, but it feels like jobs are really bad. And then I want to spend some time talking about how you find a job nowadays. How do you find a job given where the market is today? So stick with me to learn how to find a job in a market that looks like it's great, but feels like it's terrible. Here we go. Before we get started, I need to ask you for a big favor. YouTube loves interaction. So if you could give me a like or a comment, that would be great. I reply to my comments on a regular basis. I'll get right back to you on any question that you have. The other thing is I'm putting out videos like this and tips on how to find your jobs as well. So hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. You'll be notified when those tips come out, and you can choose to watch them if you like. Now let's dive in. So January jobs data has come in, and it's told us something that we knew probably would happen for a while. It's told us that unemployment is at 3.7%. Again, this is our third consecutive month at that number. And we've added a large number of jobs. I'm putting up a chart right here, and you'll be able to see exactly how many jobs we're adding and what that looks like from 2021 to now. Now, I'm getting help on this from Indeed's hiringlab.org. I encourage you to go check them out. They do a great job of pulling this data, but this is Bureau of Labor and Statistics data. Now, what this says is we're adding more jobs every single month than we need to. If you see that dotted line right at the very bottom, than we need to in order to keep unemployment flat, to keep unemployment where it is. So what that should indicate in any normal environment, what that should indicate is the job market is really good, that it's easy to find a job, that it's wide open. The problem that we have is that we have a bit of a logjam, meaning people aren't leaving their jobs. The number of leavers is one of the lowest numbers we've seen in a very long time. The number of layoffs, believe it or not, you see some headlines on layoffs, but if you look at the stats, the number of layoffs is lower than we've seen in a very, very long time. So if you have fewer leavers, fewer layoffs, what that means is people are steady in their jobs. They're holding steady in their jobs. Now, here's another chart that I'm putting up right here. When you look at this chart, this is also from Indeed. This is their index of available jobs or job openings. And they're really good at this because that's what they do for a living. So if you look at this, you can see from 2021, we've been on a steady decline. The number of available jobs has been falling like a rock. And now we're about, for an industry as a whole, we're about 15% lower than we were in 2021. That's why it feels like it's hard to find a job. You're not crazy. You make complete sense in this case. The job market looks good, but it still feels bad. And it feels like it's really hard to find a job. And it's been that way for a long time now. You can see from this chart that the number of available jobs has been on the decrease for 2 years. We've leveled out at 15% short of where we were at the high point. So that's good, I suppose. That's an improvement. We have leveled out. And if you look at the super high point, that spike you have in 21, we're way off from that. Like we're just way off from that. A lot of that had to do with people coming back to work after being out from COVID. So it's going to be a little weird, but the drop that we have is more significant than any of us have ever seen really in our entire lifetimes. These things don't move much. Unemployment rates change by fractions of a percent. So 3.7 to 3.8% is a big deal. We've been under 4% for 2 years now. So what do you do about this? This is the whole point of this video. What do you do when it feels like it's hard to find a job, even though the market says that it should be easy to find a job? What do you do in that scenario? I want to spend a few minutes walking through some of the tips that I have and how you get a job nowadays. How do you find a job nowadays is the big question that people have. it's still the classics. The classics still work. I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process here. It really is a very classic step-by-step process. There are other videos on my channel that give details about these steps in the process. So, number one, you search for a job. You just search for a job. Now, the way that you search for a job, I'm going to say is a little different than the way you've done it in the past. There are two methods of finding jobs. The first is if you're in an industry where you like to work consistently and where you have a bunch of people in your network, then you look for jobs in that industry, you apply for those jobs. The second way is you look for people that you want to work with. And this is the new thing. This is something that I'm going to recommend to you that other people may not recommend. And it's about referrals. Applying to jobs cold, you have a very low chance of getting hired if you're applying to a job cold and no one knows you there. People are far more likely to hire you if you know someone in that company. So an employee referral is valued much more than a cold applicant that comes in. So think about how you can make contact with someone at the job and have them refer you to the job. Or last resort, you apply to that job cold, and I'll tell you what to do when that happens next. No matter what, you have to make human contact. You have to talk to somebody that you know in that company or that you want to get to know in that company. Here's how that goes. If you don't know someone in the company, look for people that you know who know others. You do that in LinkedIn. LinkedIn tells you the degrees of connections away from a specific job that you are. I can tell you that a third degree connection, you can walk that connection tree back and find out who the second degree is, then your first degree, and you can get an introduction ultimately. So you can work to gain an introduction to the company that you want. This may seem like a lot of work. It is, but it's far more effective. I promise you it's more effective to do it this way. The other thing that you can do is try to find the hiring manager. Now, how do you do that? I just recorded a video where I walk you through and share my screen on exactly how to find that hiring manager. Watch that. I promise you it works. My wife is looking for a job right now, and we did that. When I followed this method, it ultimately got me this. I found who the hiring manager was. I know exactly who she is. I know her work email, her home phone number, her work phone number, and her home address. You can find all of that on the open internet because people give away way too much information. So you can find all of those things. I show you the tools that I use and how I go about it. Spoiler alert, it's not that hard. It's super straightforward. You just need to know how to do a search, how to do the right search, what to look for, what to search for in order to pull out the right department in an organization, the right title. They give you clues, by the way. A lot of times in a job posting, they'll say, oh, this job reports to the head of recruiting at this company. And I'll say, okay, who is the head of recruiting in this company? And LinkedIn will tell me. So that's the tip, but you've got to make human contact. So step one, you just look for a job. You're looking for a job where you know someone or a job where someone you know works that it's maybe something you've never done before, but it doesn't require a specific skill. And you want to do that job. You want to work with that person is the big deal. So you go do that. Step two, you apply for a job. And if you can't find a person in your network, you make human contact by hunting down the hiring manager. You find them. And I'll show you how to do that in that other linked video. You don't have to go to that right now. I'll put that as a card at the end of this video so you can bounce to it and just watch me share my screen and how I do it. Super simple. So you're leveraging your network in that case. Now, the other thing to think about is look at the places in jobs that you want to do and where they're asking for a skill that you may not have. So if they're consistently saying, I need skill in a specific software language that a lot of people don't have, go learn that language. Go pick that up and learn that language and take a course. My wife, she's a designer. And what we've learned is it's really hard to get an early job as a designer, but what it's not hard to get a job as is a CAD engineer. A lot of people can draw and can design. Not a lot of people can do it inside of the CAD system. So she has gone back to learn that because it makes her far more marketable. See what companies are asking for, become more marketable. That will help you nowadays to find a job. Find the thing where everyone's asking for it, nobody has it, and do that. Stay persistent. You should apply for jobs a lot. And I mean a lot. This should be your full-time job. If you're actively looking for a job, your full-time job is to find a job. That's just, it is what it is. And treat it like that. Treat it like a full-time job. Now, it's incredibly disheartening. I know it is. It's one of those things where you're looking for this job. You look forever and ever and ever, and you feel like you're shouting into the wind sometimes, and your resume gets sent out and you never hear anything back. I know it's super frustrating. I've felt that frustration myself. You just have to keep going. You have to keep going. Stay persistent. You will make it. You will make it. You'll eventually, the right job will hit. Statistically, the statistics say you have to apply for 200 jobs before you find one. That is wild. 200 jobs. Now, here's the other thing I'll say. When you're applying for all these jobs, when you're doing that work, don't stress out too much about the number of people who are also applying. Indeed and LinkedIn, they give you this stat and it kind of freaks you out a little bit. It says, hey, there's 200 people who have applied to this job and it opened 2 hours ago. In real life, what's happened is 200 people have clicked on that job to start an application. Less than 10% of people who start the application finish the application. Don't let that freak you out. Keep going. Keep going. And if you take the extra step of making human contact, contacting the person for that job, then you're in a much better position than everybody else who's just clicking and applying, clicking and applying, clicking and applying. Don't do that. Do not fall prey to the click here to find a job. It doesn't work. You have to actually talk to human beings. You have to be a human being that they want to work with and make your way through. So do it that way. Make human contact as soon as you possibly can. The other thing to do is look at social media. Try to find a social connection. Again, we're making human contact. Social media is great. It does a good job of helping people stay in touch with people. Finding jobs nowadays is all about connections. Now, people used to call this the good old boy network. That used to be a thing that people said a lot. It's not really that as much. It's that we know that the people who know someone coming into a company are far more likely to stay, to ramp up quickly, and to be good employees. That's statistically proven. So every company knows this. So we encourage it. We want more of it. So make that happen. If you can, try to make human contact. Try to be a referral. Try to be a part of that. And if not, make contact with that hiring manager. That's it. Finding a job nowadays is about human connection. The last thing that I'll say is when you're sending in a resume, your resume should not be static. Your resume should be edited every single time. It should be customized every single time. Now, the way that you do that is you look at the keywords in the job posting and you edit your resume. So if I say, I'm really good at walking dogs, and the job description says, we need someone to provide ambulatory assistance for our canine companions. Well, ambulatory assistance for canine companions means walking dogs. What I would do in my resume is I would change walking dogs to my last job. I was an ambulatory assistant for canine companions. I'm a dog walker in that case, but I use the language of the company. That's the sort of thing you can do for the algorithms to pick you up and for you to be able to be seen by that company more effectively. So these are the things you do. This is it. This is it. You customize your resume. You make human contact. If you need help with the resume customization, I've created a career coach GPT. So this is how you use AI to help you find a job. I basically have pre-written the prompt to allow ChatGPT to help you customize your resume based on a job. It'll ask you the questions you need and things like that. Absolutely free. I don't even have a way of charging money for this. That's linked down here in the description, and there'll be a following video to show exactly how that works as well. I just haven't done that one yet. I probably should. I should do that really fast, but that's helpful. hopefully to you. And again, free gift to you anytime you want it. And it just links straight to ChatGPT. As you search, don't lose heart. Stay persistent. This too shall pass. You will find a job. It's possible. They're out there. They exist. You just have to fight through. You have to make your way through. Decide every single day that you're going to do the job of finding a job. You can do it. It's going to happen. You're going to find this next thing. Best of luck in your search. See you next time.